Well, hello and welcome to Danny's Devotion. Today I'd like to bring you another short devotion here on YouTube, and I'm thankful for YouTube for allowing me to do this. And the scripture that I want to use today comes from Luke 17:10, and here Jesus teaches his disciples the importance about humility and service and the proper attitude that we should have in our relationship with God. And this verse says, "So likewise, when you shall have done all those things which are commanded you, say, We are unprofitable servants. We have done that which was our duty to do." Now, this verse follows a discussion about forgiveness and faith, and when Jesus emphasizes the importance of forgiveness, and the disciples need to increase their faith. Right after these teachings, Jesus offers a poignant reminder that humility is an essential aspect of our Christian walk. He uses the analogy of a master and a servant to illustrate the dynamics between God and us. And Jesus encourages his disciples, and by extension, that for us to recognize that our act of obedience and services are not opportunities for us to seek recognition or praise. Instead, they are the fulfillment of our duty as followers of Christ. The imagery of service is intentional. Servants serve their masters because it's their responsibility, and it's not because they expect special treatment or acknowledgement, but they do it because it's their job. And I think that's what God is wanting us to do through Jesus Christ. We're to be about doing what he wants us to do. And Jesus himself, I can do nothing of myself but what I see, what he saith the Father do. For what things soever he doeth, these also doeth the Son likewise. So Jesus wants to do things that his Father is doing. And that's the same with us. He wants us to be doing the things in the scriptures that he wants us to be doing. And that's what we should be about in this world today. And Jesus encouraged his disciples by extension, sending us to recognize that our act of obedience and services are not opportunities for us to seek recognition or praise. Instead, they are the fulfillment of our duty as followers of Christ. The imagery of servants is intentional. Servants serve their masters because it's their responsibility, not because they expect special treatments or acknowledgement. And this verse challenges us to examine our motives behind our actions. Are we serving and obeying God with a heart of humility and gratitude, or are we secretly hoping for hoping for accolades? Or are we content with fulfill our duty to God, or do we demand recognition for our efforts? Now, I don't know. That's not what I want to do about what the Lord wants me to do. I want to be doing what he wants me to do. And I pray that almost every day. Lord, lead me and guide me in the way that you would have me to go and to do your will. Now, his scripture says to go into all the world. And I've said before, I can't do that. I can't go into the world. But through YouTube, maybe I can reach someone. Maybe what I say could plant a seed in someone's heart, and that's my prayer, that could happen every day. This verse challenges us to examine our motives behind our actions. Are we serving and obeying God with a heart of humility and gratitude? Or are we secretly acknowledged for accolades? Are we content with fulfilling our duty to God, or do we demand recognition for our efforts? Cultivating the attitude of an unworthy servant involves acknowledging our dependence on God's grace and recognizing that everything we do is in response to his love and mercy. It's a posture that keeps us grounded, reminding us that we are recipients of God's unmerited favor. This realization should lead us to offer our services and obedience, not out of obligation, but out of genuine desires to please God and honor him. Now, As we navigate our Christian journey, let's remember that humility isn't thinking less of ourselves, but it's thinking of ourselves less. When we approach our task, whether we're big or small, with an attitude of humility, we open ourselves up to the transforming powers of God's presence in our lives. By acknowledging our unworthiness and surrendering our pride, we make space for God to work within us and through us. In conclusion, Jesus, in Luke 17:10, it serves as a reminder that our services and obedience to God should be driven by a heart of humility and gratitude. And we need to embrace the role of unworthy service, focusing on fulfilling our duty to God without seeking accolades. By doing so, we align ourselves with the essence of a true discipleship and open ourselves to the transforming powers and the work of God's grace in our lives.